NSFW, sex workers of Reddit. Have you ever become emotionally attached to one of your clients, and what became of it? Not many serious answers here. I met my wife at a strip club that she was stripping at. I came in with some of my friends and I saw this beautiful blonde that was making her rounds on the stages around the club. I still think this is crazy, but in my head I was like, wow, she is so confident and pretty. I have to get a dance from her. I patiently waited for her to finish her stage set. I approached her and asked if she would like to do a private dance. She never danced for me once. She just sat on my lap and we talked for hours in the back of the club about our lives and what we like to do. We had this connection that I never felt with any woman I had met in my life. When the lights turned on and it was time for everyone to leave, I pulled out my wallet to pay her and she declined to take any of my money. She gave me her number and we met up for a date the next weekend. We have been married for 5 years now. I never thought or expected to meet my wife at a strip club. She quit stripping a few months into our relationship and went back to school. Now we both have great jobs and a stable life. We have both changed each other's lives in positive ways and I love her with all of my heart. I dabbled on the cam sites one day and met a woman who worked there. We talked for a while and became friends. She invited me to take a vacation and stay at her place. She was married but we hooked up anyway. After a few days, I extended my vacation and we started doing couples shows together. One of our regulars was a 50-year-old woman with a plastic surgery addiction. She was pretty attractive for her age. After a few weeks of tipping, I shot her my number in a private message and we started texting. Eventually my co-performer and I called it quits and I ended up connecting with Cougar Client. For a while, we had a sugar relationship. It was weird because her daughter was my age and she was totally fine bringing her around me, but the Cougar Client gave me more money than I ever had and took me to places I could never afford. As time went on, I'd spend the night at her house and start doing things like cooking for her and her daughter and helping out with little chores. One day, I was there while Cougar Client was working from home. Her daughter was also there and going through shit with her father. At one point, she starts telling me about it and out of my mouth came these words of encouragement and a fatherly hug. I was creeped TF out and realized I was in my early 20s and realized this shit wasn't just a sugar relationship anymore and I actually cared about these two in some familial way. I was creeped the out that I was playing stepfather to a young woman I'd swipe right on if Tinder was a thing back then. Bonus story. For a while I hung out at a bar where sex workers hung out. I ended up becoming a regular client of one woman. Her and I ended up seeing each other every day and just spending tons of time together. After a couple weeks, we started seriously dating, and then a full-blown relationship. She continued working but cut her schedule down a lot. We eventually got engaged and had one of the most epic engagement parties ever. She got pregnant and we were expecting to have a child. It turned out that it wasn't mine but one of her clients, which I would have been cool with since that shit happens. But instead of talking to me about it, she flipped shit on me and ran away. She reached back out to me just before having the kid, and we stayed friends for a while. The only thing she asked me to do was sign the birth certificate and not tell her daughter or family about her past. I did. She never expected me to pay child support or help raise her daughter, which was fine with me. But if anything happens to my ex-fiancé, I might be responsible for a teenage girl. A woman I have been good friends with for years found her husband at a strip club she was working at. She said that she was instantly attracted to him and even more so when she noticed that he looked like he'd rather be at the dentist getting cavities filled than be there. He was forced because of his brother's bachelor party. They started talking. She bought him a few glasses of Diet Coke. They exchanged numbers. Got engaged 1 year later, literally from the day they met, and have been married and happy for 15 years next month. She always told herself that she'd never fall in love again. Ex was an abusive nightmare and boom, love at first sight according to them. I don't believe in that. She glows from happiness when he's near and it's beautiful. I'm a male gay 4-pay sex worker. I've never fell for any of my male clients. Never had a female client before. That is a unicorn in this business. Although I never fell for any clients, I did have deep respect for some of them. I would genuinely enjoy seeing and catching up. When I got close enough to some of these clients, we would just hang out, watch TV and have deep conversation, maybe with their head in my lap. Easy 300 to 400 bucks tax-free. One thing I realized is that men crave physical affection. I'm not talking about sex, but holding, hugging, etc. Some would tell me no one has ever held them before in their 30 to 60 years of life. When I started holding, hugging clients after any sexual activity, it boosted recurring clients by 50%. Most of my clients now are non-sexual because of this. It feels amazing to be paid to connect with people on an intimate level. This might get buried, but I met a client around my age a short while ago, and was intensely attracted to him. After the first meeting, I haven't asked him to pay me again. We just enjoy each other's company. He doesn't get jealous of my clients. He understands my need for space. So far things have gone well. Ask me again in another month though. I used to do sex work, and I am still friends with some of those I met. So much so I use the guest room of the one couple when traveling. One guy about 5 years ago even paid for all my scuba training and equipment. Lovely man, but he moved for a new work positions. I had a day job, but it was contract work and they never wanted to hire to avoid paying benefits. I am now a cam model and prefer this way more. I have a regular on there who was apologizing profusely for not being able to tip as their dog got injured and has vet bills. I told no need to apologize, and I have checked in with him every couple days to hear the dog's progress. Because animals are important to me. Our pets are our family. I do morning coffee on cam too. I do love my life. On some level one think you have to care about the people you see often. Because without these people I wouldn't be where I am today. I had a shit childhood and luckily I got out. In the beginning it was survival sex work. But now that I am cam modeling and doing fetish education work, I am able to build an audience and following to educate and show off. I talk about sex safety and knowing risk. Playing smart all the time. People can do whatever they want with their body if it doesn't harm another being. In my opinion, I just want people to have their fun and minimize risk as much as possible. I luckily wrapped up that kind of life, with no lifelong illnesses. Thank you PrEP exposure prophylaxis for reducing risk of contracting HIV and playing smart. Now that I do cam, no risk to me or any future partners. Call girl here. I have a beautiful and meaningful relationship with an ex-client. We regularly check up on each other and I genuinely love him like one of my own. He's a whole lot older than me, but he's super wise and genuinely cares for me. He still wants to my brains out, but he also shares some pretty amazing secrets. A serious answer. Since there's not many, I've definitely been attracted and started to get emotionally attached to clients before, but will always take a step back before I get in too deep. Part-time cam girl and escort so I can get away with not going on for a week or skipping a date or two just to regroup and remind myself of the situation. I have also got past clients who are now friends, who I am very much so emotionally attached to. It's kinda weird to think back and realize we met through sex work honestly. The best questions never get serious answers. My ex-wife literally left me for one of those random stranger commenters on Gonerwild. Does that count? We were still married. He was the last in a string of cheating betrayals. But yeah, several weeks later they were meeting in person, and they are over a year-long distance dating now. Suffice it to say, we are divorced now. So, hey, Gonerwild commenters, you actually have a chance. So keep trying. I was a trafficked child sex worker from the age of 15 to about 18, mostly serving male clients in the 30s to 50s range. It's hard to explain the mentality that goes into that work when you're that young, but I would connect emotionally fairly regularly because many of the men would be very affectionate and give me gifts, take me to the zoo or other fun places, etc. Now I can look back as an adult and understand it was all internalized trauma which made me latch on to anyone who was kind to me. As an adult I have went back to consensual sex work a few times, and always had a great time. I've connected with a client who was also a sex worker, and we dated for a while. The mutual understanding and respect for each other made it easy to get along, but as I stepped away from the life she and I made an amicable break. I just couldn't keep up with the emotional labor attached to sex work anymore, and with that a lot of the emotional labor she required. Former sex worker here. I fell in love with a client. He looked kind of rockabilly, and had heaps of tattoos. He'd bring me coffee and we'd talk about books and music. He made me a playlist of his favorite songs. and brought me a copy of his favorite book. We swapped real names and talked honestly about life and relationships. One night we met up in a bar and he hung out with my friends. Stayed out all night and he crashed at mine. We were together for about 2 years. I quit sex work and went back to university. Got a normal job. We moved in together. My family adored him and I got along really well with his mother. We broke up for pretty normal reasons. I wanted a responsible partner who I could build a life with, save money, be fit and healthy. He wanted to tour with the band, drink and party. Last time I saw him he was in and out of rehab and in some volatile relationship. I saw his mother last year and his business had failed. He hadn't been sticking with rehab and he was being charged with assaulting his ex-girlfriend. I really hope he manages to deal with his problems and get clean. I'm still thankful for the time we had and don't hold any grudges.